Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. In this particular video, I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to come straight off the top of my dome because this is a sort of an emotional commentary I want to give you today. And it is encapsulated around the big words, the big letter C and the word cancer, around your wealth is your health, and how time is your most important utility and commodity that you own and possess. And in time is an existential term. It's not tangible. It flows in one direction. You can't get yesterday back. Today is your present, which is your presence or your present, and it is your gift, and tomorrow is not promised. I'll give you 3 quick examples on how time is very, very important and is around you at all times. Like I said, it flows in one direction, is existential. You can't touch it. But 3 examples would be, if you talk to someone on their deathbed, what would be the most important thing that they would want to have more of? It would be time. Number 2, when you go to the penitentiary in the United States of America, what do they say you're doing? Time. Prison is a mental state, not just a physical state to be in or manifestation, but it is definitely a mental strain on you to be in prison and to do a lot of time. The 3rd example I would give you is outside of the Chicago Board of Trade, the CBOT, and the NYSE, the New York Stock Exchange, what place has the 3rd fastest commodification of the transfer of funds or money? It's Las Vegas, the casinos. And in all casinos, what do you know? What do you not find in a casino? Clocks. That is by design. That is a marketing strategy. That is a psychology strategy where casinos believe if they can keep you in that element of a fantasy and keep you at the casino, they will have a higher probability of taking your money. There are millions and billions of dollars that are being transferred between a casino player and the casino every minute of every day of every year around the country, and definitely in Las Vegas. Well, we got 3 professional athletes that had to do and had health scares dealing with the word cancer. And before I get started with that, I want to tell you that my mother died of cancer a day before my 13th birthday. She had breast cancer and metastasized to bone cancer. So this is a very heartfelt subject matter that I'm discussing with you. And also, I'm a man in his mid-50s. And I have had some health issues with ulcerative colitis, acid reflux, very bad. And my health is not the same as it was when I was 30, 20, or even 40 years old. So as we navigate our way through this journey we call life, it gets rougher and tougher, not only mentally, but sometimes physically. And we've had 3 Hall of Famers that have recently had to deal with the big C letter and C word, cancer. First one would be Randy Moss, 48 years old, who was diagnosed with bile duct cancer. If any of you all who watch football remember last year, he had yellow, his eyes were yellow, he was jaundiced, nobody knew what was going on. He was wearing sunglasses at one point, and then it came out later that he had bile duct cancer. And so, and it was associated with his liver. That's where his eyes were jaundiced. Well, what is bile duct cancer? Or what are your bile ducts? Your bile ducts are tiny canals that connect some of the organs in your digestive system. Their purpose is to carry the bile uh, between these organs. The organs and bile ducts together form your biliary, biliary system, biliary system, which includes your liver, gallbladder, and small intestine. So Randy Moss having bile duct cancer, it was associated with his liver, and as I said, the bile duct carries bile between and interfaces with your different organ systems. Like I said, which would be your liver, your gallbladder, and your small intestine. Well, he took radiation chemotherapy. As of right now, Randy Moss is doing okay. We have to send our prayers out to him, and hopefully he will make it through that 5-year window. And we know he's getting the best care that he possibly can. Randy Moss, 48 years old, Hall of Famer, changed the game. I think the difference between him and Jerry Rice was consistent. He was a consistent wide receiver. But Randy Moss had a certain je ne sais quoi, a certain aura about him, and his acrobatics. He was a game changer. I think that his style of play was a little more dynamic than Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice was consistent. I'm not saying one was better than the other. You got to remember that Randy Moss originally had signed he was an All-American out of high school, had originally signed with Notre Dame. That fell apart. Then he was going to Florida State, and that fell apart. And then he ended up at Marshall, and turned out to be a wonderful wide receiver, family man, a very good guy, and we wish him all the best. Then you have Ryan Sandberg, who was at the time 65 years old. He recently just passed. He had metastatic prostate cancer, which means that the cancer, when he got diagnosed with it, was outside of his prostate and going into his other organs and bodily systems. He played 16 years. Now, Ryan Sandberg, I have a personal fondness for Ryan because I partially was raised in Chicago. We watched the Chicago Cubs on WGN as a kid all the time in the 70s and 80s. He was a second baseman. You had Andre Dawson. Those were the two of the biggest names with the Cubs back in those eras. Back in that era, he played 16 seasons. He was a 10-time All-Star. He went into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in 2005. Unfortunately, Ryan Sandberg succumbed to the prostate cancer and died recently. Here again, your health is your wealth. And the final person, and so that's heartfelt for me. I looked up to Ryan Sandberg. I played baseball as a young person, and Ryan Sandberg was a quality guy. He was from Illinois, and the entire state of Illinois has to be heartbroken by Ryan Sandberg's passing. Only 65 years old. Randy Moss, 48 years old. These people are still young. People are living until their 80s now, even 90s. My grandmother on my father's side died when she was 99 years old. And the final one I want to talk about is Deion Sanders, who is recovering from bladder cancer surgery and had his bladder removed. Here recently, there were some rumblings about what was going on with Deion. We know he's had a vascular issue. He's had some toes removed on one of his feet. But Deion has been a great example of a black man who wanted to be there for his children and raise his children, and especially his boys, Shadur and Shiloh, and his other son. And we know what he's doing with the Colorado Buffaloes. Deion has galvanized Boulder, Colorado, and the college football scene altogether. There are people that don't like Deion because of his arrogance and his hubris and talking about himself quite a bit, but Deion backed it up. Deion is 58 years old, so he's in my category of age group. So you're talking about Emmitt Smith, Michael Irving, Deion, that whole group in the mid 80s were some outstanding football players. And we know Deion's from Florida, went to Florida State. Deion, to me, and is considered probably the greatest cornerback in maybe the history of football. Deion was like, Randy Moss and Deion were very similar to me, and they played on opposite sides of the ball. So the cornerback guards the wide receiver is trying to get away from the cornerback. Both of those guys, top speedsters, changed the game, were dynamic, were mesmerizing in their play. I think you could literally put a mirror image with Randy Moss and Deion Sanders. I think Randy Moss was the Deion Sanders on the wide receiver side, and Deion Sanders was the Randy Moss on the defensive back side, playing on the football field. And as I said, Deion's 58 years old. He's battling. He had his bladder. He had bladder cancer. His bladder removed. Randy Moss, 48 years old, had bowel duct cancers and is progressively doing better. And of course, Ryan Sandberg succumbed to metastatic prostate cancer at 65 years old, died way too young. What is the point to all of this? The point is, your health is your wealth. Time is your most important commodity. And we need to use that utility and that commodity in the right way. As I said to you with Deion has been a great father. One of the major issues in our urban black cities is too many fatherless homes. Deion has been a machination of a black man being in his black children's lives. And that is very, very important. Whether you like Deion or not, he's been there for his children. He stayed there, and he continues to be a loving, God-fearing man. We need more of that. Randy Moss, God-fearing family man, married. We need more of that. We need less of the Shannon Sharpe and his debacle, his $23 million lawsuit to an OnlyFans model, and Gilbert Arenas with his illegal poker allegations and his arrest. We don't need any more of that. We need more of the Deion and Randy Mosses of the year.